Hello everyone, this is Burger Boy. Welcome back to another video. Today we are taking a look at my Elfnote Fiendsmith deck profile. I'm so excited to show it to you guys, and I'm really excited for the new support that's going to be coming out in the rest of the year. But for now, we're just looking at the initial release we got with the Burst Protocol set. So first off, we are starting off with 3 copies of Elfnote's Lucina, 3 copies of Elfnote's Tenia, and 1 copy of Elfnote's Fortuna. All of them can special summon themselves from the hand to the center main monster zone, and they all get effects when summoned there. So the Lucina gets to add a Elfnote's monster from deck to hand. The Fortuna gets to place a continuous trap from your hand or deck in your face-up spell trap zone. And the Tenia gets to do the same thing, but with a continuous spell. And all of them can quick effect switch positions with the monster in the center main monster zone. So the Lucina gets to bounce a level 6 or lower monster your opponent controls to the hand. Tenia gets to banish a card from your opponent's hand until the end phase. And Fortuna gets to bounce a spell trap face up from your opponent's spell trap zone to the hand. And now we got 2 copies of the Elfnote Power Patron. It's our tuner. It also can manipulate levels when it's summoned to synchro summon, as well as being able to add a Elfnote's card from your deck to your hand when it's used as synchro material. And to round out the main part of the engine, the best combo starter in the deck, as Way of Monsters goes, we have 3 copies of Medeus the Pure. Moving on to the Fiendsmith cards, we have 3 copies of Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 copy of Lacrima, and 1 Lurie. Absolute must, as you would in any Fiendsmith build. You want to be running these cards. Going on to the hand traps, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Mulcharmy Thualos, and 2 copies of Drolan Lockbird. Really great in this format to be able to lock out your opponent from adding from deck to hand or draw a card whenever your opponent special summons. And of course, Ash is just a great card altogether. Moving on to the spells, our second best combo starter in the deck is Etherealize. This is ideally one of the cards you want to see as much as possible, as well as your Medeus. 2 copies of Elfnote's Welcome Home. It lets you e-tele a card from the deck. We got 1 copy of Triple Tactics Thrust, 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Fiendsmith Tract, 1 Crossout Designator, and 1 Call by the Grave. And for our traps, we've got Triple Imperm, another really great card to be able to play it. And then we've got 1 copy of Elfnote's Rhapsodia of Madness. Lets you special summon an Elfnote's monster from your grave, as well as forcing your opponent to attack the monster in your center monster zone. And if you summon a monster from your grave while you control a synchro monster, you can target to negate a card your opponent controls, which is really great. And of course, 1 copy of Fiendsmith in Paradise to finish off the Fiendsmith cards. For our extra deck, starting off with the Link monsters, we got 1 copy of Fiendsmith Requiem, 1 copy of Link Spider. Link Spider is actually super important for this deck to be able to play, because if your opponent Nibiru's you and places the token in your center monster zone, and you have some Elfnotes in hand, you can go into Link Spider with the token, so now your center monster zone is freed up, and then you can summon your Elfnotes to your center monster zone, which is really great. 1 copy of IP Masquerena, 1 copy of the Fiendsmith Sequence, and 1 SP Little Knight. That will round out our Link monsters. We're running 1 Xyz monster, of course. It is the DDD High Wave King Caesar. Having 2 summon negates is just incredible. It is very possible that this card could be banned, so instead you could run in a copy of Evilsword Lars, which I think is not as good, but it's still a really great card. It's still a negate, so that's great. But right now, Caesar is the best rank 6 you can run with Fiendsmith. And moving on to our Synchro monsters, we have 1 Armades, the Keeper of Boundaries. This is our bridge into our Fiendsmith engine, so if we have Medeus on field and our Power Patron, we can Synchro summon the level 5 Armades, and then that gets you into your Fiendsmith line. And we're playing 2 copies of the Elfnote Seraphim Strelitzia. Really great card. Gets 3,000 attack when it's in the center monster zone, as well as being able to reborn a monster from your graveyard as a quick effect, a Elfnote's monster. And it also manipulates levels, so you can go into even higher Synchro Monster levels. Playing 1 copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster. Being able to negate spells is really good. Really good, especially in a format where a lot of cards are running the Fallen and the a lot of decks, are running the Fallen and the Virtuous. The Radiant Typhoon deck likes to run it, as well as the Yummy Sky Striker hybrid builds. Also very good, just to be able to negate any spell trap your opponent activates. We're playing 1 copy of Adamancipator Risen Dragite. This is more for monster negates or other spell or trap cards if you can climb into it. And we're also playing another negate card. We're playing the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, another really great negate card, and it gets to grow to a lot of attack points if you can get it to the battle phase. And of course, we're playing 1 copy of Junora, Power Patron of Tuning. It gets to Dark Ruler no more your opponent's field, as well as prevent your opponent from being able to use monsters they control as Fusion, Synchro, Link, and Xyz material, as long as those monsters exist in columns that Elfnote's monsters do, which is a really interesting and really cool effect. And for our fusion monsters, we're playing 1 Fiendsmith Lacrima and 1 Fiendsmith Desiree. We're not really making Desiree a lot in this build. You technically can, but it doesn't really matter much. It's mainly just here as a target to send off of your Fiendsmith in Paradise, being able to shuffle back another Light Fiend, and then send a card your opponent controls to the grave. And Lacrima obviously is great. It reborns one of your Fiendsmith monsters to be able to go into a rank 6, which will be your King Caesar, and also shuffle back a Light Fiend monster when it's sent to the graveyard and deal 1,200 burn damage to your opponent, which is also good for going into time if you're at the end of a match and Lacrima detach effect to burn. It can help edge out that time rule win, which is great. And that'll be it for this deck. I hope you enjoyed. Oh wait, we have the side deck, my bad. Going into the side deck, we are playing all the powerhouse cards of the format. We're playing 2 copies of Malt Charmy Perulia, 2 copies of Malt Charmy Meows, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit to be able to deal with Yummy or any card that needs to remain on the field to resolve, mainly spells and traps. Yummy, some Sky Striker cards maybe, and also for the mirror match, your continuous spells and traps will not resolve in Elfnotes if they're not remaining phase on the field, as all continuous spells and traps usually function that way. So having Ogre for the mirror match as well is really great. 2 copies of Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion. It's a pretty graveyard-heavy format, as it's been for quite a while. The graveyard is basically just a second hand, so Ghost Spell is in here to keep our opponent from manipulating their graveyard, which is great. And of course, we're playing 2 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being for blowouts against combos, and 2 copies of Gamma Seal the Sea Turtle Kaiju. This is for the Lunalight matchup, so being able to get over a Liger Dancer is extremely difficult unless you have a Kaiju, so that's why we're playing that. And to round off the extra deck, 2 copies of Lightning Storm, as well as just being able to just board wipe our opponent, getting rid of all troublesome spells or traps or monsters that may be on the field. I know that back row decks aren't really that prevalent right now, but sometimes at locals or even a regional, if a certain person is running it, you may run into Labyrinth. So just being able to back row wipe your opponent, or get rid of the Yummy field spell going into the Elfnotes matchup, the mirror match, you can back row wipe their spells and traps, which is great to be able to do, as well as maybe even get rid of an Imperm if they have one waiting in the wings for you. A lot of the choices are pretty self-explanatory. So you can see why I'd choose to run all of these in here. Really great in their own right for any matchup you may run into. And that'll be it for the deck, guys. Please do let me know what you thought in the comments. I'm really proud of this deck, and I'm really hopeful for it. And, of course, you will see updates for the deck when the new support comes out in the next core set, which is the Blazing Dominion set. And just the other day, I think it was yesterday, we got leaks for some more Elfnote / Power Patron support coming in Chaos Origin. So of course, towards the end of the year when that set comes out, you will see an updated list for it when that drops. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord down in the description. It's absolutely free, and we would love to see you there. There's always room for new members. We're glad to have you. Just join, and with the link down in the description, and you'll be able to chat with all my amazing friends and my mods, and they will be happy to see you. Let them know that I sent you here. You came from the videos. So thanks, guys, so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.